What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Coach Black, your internet, relationship, and breakup coach. Today's topic: if no contact is not working for you, you might be making this one mistake. I was talking to a client this weekend, and when he was sharing his story with me, it became evident to me one of the subtle ways he was misapplying the principles and theories of no contact that was essentially rendering everything he was doing useless. And this video will be helpful for you, especially if you're doing no contact and you feel like you're not getting the results or the traction that you want. You might be misapplying the theories of no contact, so listen closely. Now, I'm only sharing this video and content, one, because I asked the client and he was okay if I shared some of his story. I'm obviously not going to say his name, but he was gracious enough to share this with you. Second, I know that this will make an impact on a lot of people who are trying to get their ex back and are doing no contact. So I hope you enjoyed this video and it's effective and helpful for you along your journey. Now, before we go any further, I'd ask that you go ahead and like this video right now. You subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of the future videos that I put out on this channel. I truly do appreciate you, and I'm thankful for you being here and joining the family. Now, let me tell you about my client. Amazing guy, really cool dude, and I'm gonna call him Joe, just for the purpose of this video. I'm gonna call him Joe. Now, Joe met his ex-girlfriend on a train in New York City. Now, he would take this train to work every single day for the last couple decades. It was just part of his routine. Now, a few years ago, he ran into his now ex-girlfriend, and just like any romance story, they saw each other from across the room or across the train, and there was immediately some kind of tension or chemistry. And after a few days, he worked up the courage and approached her, and there was some conversation, and they're reconnecting, bonding, and doing all these subtle things that allow people to build a relationship together. Fast forward, in a few months, they start dating and they're in a relationship together. Now, part of their routine for the last 2 years that they were together is they would take the train, go to work. While they're on the train, they're having conversation, and then they go to each of their separate places of work. This was just natural, and they've been together for 2 years. Now, 2 months ago, his girlfriend decided to end the relationship. She wasn't happy, and she just wanted to move forward with her life. Now, initially, Joe did all of the things that I tell you not to do. Now, not to a drastic extent. He wasn't blowing up her phone, but he was sending letters and gifts and little things like that over the course of the first few weeks. When that wasn't working, he found some of my videos and other no contact content, and so he immediately stopped reaching out and left her alone. Now, one of the things that Joe did as well was he stopped taking the train. Why? Well, to him, he felt he needed to avoid her. He needed to stay away so that she's not seeing him, there's no communication, and that way she would eventually start to miss him. Now, I want you to think about the sacrifices that Joe had to make to do this, because that was one of the first things I asked him. Now, in his effort to avoid seeing her, Joe had to wake up a couple of hours earlier so he can take the train before, so he doesn't run into her. And another thing was he had a really good friend and coworker that took the same route that he took with his ex-girlfriend, and so on the train rides, he was missing the opportunity to also spend time with a good friend of his that was part of his normal day-to-day routine. So in essence, Joe was sacrificing a lot of time, a lot of effort, just to avoid seeing his ex-girlfriend. Now, I want you to understand, while no contact is very effective, not talking to your ex is very effective, your intention matters more than what you do. And I want you to hear me closely. Your intention is the most important thing. And so this is why, for example, if you see your ex in public, You don't say anything to them, but the whole night you're scowling, you're looking angry, you're looking upset. Well, even though you didn't talk to them, your intention, that energy comes through and exudes off of you, and your ex can still tell that you're affected by them. You still care a lot. That is why you're very upset and angry. The same thing goes for what Joe is doing in my previous story. He is sacrificing something that he had done for decades before she even came into the picture. And being with her for the last 2 years, she knows his routine. She knows what's the most convenient way for him to get to work every single day. So basically, Joe is bending himself into a pretzel just to accommodate his ex, to make things more comfortable for her. Or in her mind, it's some kind of tactic so she doesn't see him. No contact is not a tactic. You don't sacrifice your whole life. You don't sacrifice your comfort because you're trying to get your ex to notice your absence. That is not what we're going to do. And this is one of the few cases where I would say, go on the train. That is part of your routine. Go on your train. Go sit. I'm sure the train has enough room for all the passengers, right? You've been going on that train for decades, and you sit and you focus on your own business. You listen to a podcast. You're watching YouTube videos. You're doing your own thing and living your life. Now, if your ex still takes the train, she'll either walk in and see you. She might acknowledge you, to which you acknowledge her and wave and continue what you're doing. Remember, your intention is that I'm focused on my life. It's only different if you see her and then you start looking at her, you start going to sit wherever she sits. That shows that you're heavily invested in her, and I understand that. But if you stay and focus on what you're doing, you're just living your life. You're not going to sacrifice your comfort just to accommodate your ex. Now, this doesn't apply to every scenario. So if you're confused about what you're going through and you want to see if you should be doing the same thing I'm advising Joe to do, go ahead and click the link in the description. You can book a one-on-one session and we can talk about what you're going through. But always remember, your intention always shines through your actions. You don't just do things just to do them. If you get to a point where you're completely at peace and you're comfortable with things going either way, you're not so fixated on getting your ex back, now you don't have to sacrifice your life. You go on the train, you see them or you don't, you're fine either way. Anyway, I hope this was helpful. If you enjoyed the video and you haven't already, go ahead and like right now. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of my future videos. Also, I'm going to leave a link to my breakup journal. If you want to collect your thoughts, especially right now, going through a breakup, you can click the link. It's the second link in the description. You can get my breakup journal to help you through this journey. Also, leave a comment below and let me know what you're thinking. If you have any question or thoughts about this situation, or if you want to share about what you're going through and what you're dealing with, go ahead and leave it down in the description below. I hope this is helpful, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.